Injuries happen all the time in the NBA, and most of them are usually because of an awkward landing or a collision with another player. But sometimes, something so bizarre and strange happens that it's almost hard to believe that it actually happened. In today's video, we're about to count down the strangest injuries NBA players have had on the court. But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2K22 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple. First up, a cold knee. You know those days when you're so tired you just want to pass out anywhere? If you're an athlete, the sleep is even more rewarding, since you know you've worked your absolute hardest and now deserve some sweet shut-eye. It's the same with NBA players. After a long and exhausting training session on the court, players are often advised to rest, leading to better recovery and alertness in their next match. But have you ever heard of a small nap that eventually led to retirement? It already sounds strange, right? After a gruesome training session, BJ Tyler did what any other player would do. He got his ice packs and put them on his knee to cool off, but he probably got a little too cool and ended up dozing off with the ice pack still on his knee. Believe it or not, that one nap actually damaged his knee so much that he ended up having to retire. He lost all of his movement and speed and had to retire shortly after that one nap. Honestly, it's hard to think of a stranger way to retire. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and this applies to almost everything in life. But how could this be related to a strange injury on the court? Well, imagine if you're having a really good game and the referee makes a controversial call. You're absolutely certain that it's wrong, but since the referee's call is final, you can't do anything but hand over the ball and wait for the next play. Or you can slam the scorer's table really hard if you're Corey Maggette. He slammed his hand so hard that it dislocated the ring and pinky finger of his right hand. He had to get a cast and sat out for almost 4 weeks. A strange but clever way to get a 4-week vacation, if you ask us. A lot of public embarrassment, and the referee probably felt pretty powerful with his call afterwards. Next, what do we tell the fans? Dirk Nowitzki is probably the best foreign-born basketballer to ever play in the NBA. He scored more than 30,000 points in his career and also holds the record for most points scored by a non-American basketball player. But despite having a legendary NBA career, he managed to find a bizarre way to injure himself. In 2001, Nowitzki's Mavericks were getting ready to take on the Washington Wizards. The match was set to start in a couple of minutes, and Nowitzki was sitting on the sideline adjusting his shoes. So, you know when half your foot is still out of the shoe and you stomp it on the ground to get it all in? Dirk did just that, but he stomped his feet so hard that he literally sprained a tendon in his ankle. It was so bad that he missed the game. We imagine it must have been really difficult for the team to tell fans what really happened. Up next, getting a good close-up. In some rare cases, we get to see a strange injury accompanied by a strange reaction. And to be honest, we wouldn't want to be in a similar situation. But since we're counting down strange injuries, we couldn't leave Steve Nash's nose out of the list. Steve Nash and Derek Fisher were having a pretty intense game. Both players were getting up close and personal in the attempts to get a turnover and score some quick points. However, during the intense battle, Steve Nash collided so hard with Fisher that he broke his nose. Remember when we talked about a strange injury accompanied by a strange reaction? Well, it was strange because his nose was practically dangling off his face. It wasn't too fun to watch. Then, all of a sudden, the cameraman decided to get a really good close-up of his nose, and at the time, Steve Nash decides to pop his nose back himself. After giving it a good couple of jerks, he successfully popped his nose back in position and carried on like nothing happened. Talk about commitment. It seems like the cameraman loves getting a close-up of Steve Nash whenever he gets into a scuffle with the opposite team. This time around, the cameraman managed to weird us all out as we got to see Steve Nash giving the strangest smile with a bloodied lip against the Pacers. As the Pacers took on the Suns, Earl Watson thought the best way to reach the rim would be by elbowing Steve Nash right in the face. And if we had to suggest an alternate career to Watson, we'd probably tell him to try his luck at becoming a mixed martial artist, because Nash went flying after that elbow. Steve's face is all bloody, and you can see he has a big cut on his lip. Why can you see it? Because the cameraman is zoomed in on his face, and all we're seeing is Steve Nash giving a really creepy smile. It wasn't the most significant of injuries, but it was really strange. It might have been the same cameraman on both occasions. Next, I see you. Alan Ray didn't get to play a lot of professional basketball in the NBA. He played a year or two for the Boston Celtics. His basketball career in college was much more happening, and by happening we mean strange and a bit gross. This incident also happened in college, but it makes us shiver each time we think about it. During the game, a player from the other team poked Ray's eye right out of his socket. Yep, you heard it right out of his socket. His eye was literally hanging out of the socket, and it also got dislocated. We're glad there isn't any HD footage of the incident, but a video is still available online. If you're feeling a little gutsy, go ahead and watch it, but we're warning you in advance, it's really strange and gross. To put it in simple terms, it was a pretty graphic eye injury. Marquise Daniels had a pretty serious injury, but how it went down and the aftermath was pretty strange. Late in the match, the ball was rolling, and Daniels, along with Gilbert Arenas, both dove towards it. During all this, Gilbert's shoulder smacked Daniels' head so hard that the entire crowd went cold. Even the commentators had nothing to say after witnessing the horrific and awkward incident. There was a lot of confusion, but one thing was very clear, that something bad had happened. After such a horrific collision, you'd expect Daniels to show some clear signs of pain or at least discomfort, but he just laid there in complete stillness for minutes, not a single movement. Finally, Daniels started to move and showed that he was indeed alive and breathing, because honestly, there was just this very weird and strange vibe in the arena. No one had any idea what had happened to Daniels. The collision was so intense that Daniels ended up bruising his spine. It was a hell of a scare for the world of basketball. We're glad he managed to come out of it alive, because honestly speaking, it felt like he was still for hours and hours. Next, to dunk or not to dunk. Life is all about making decisions, and it's okay. Everyone makes a poor decision every now and then, but there are some decisions that end up haunting you for the rest of your life. And you guessed it, Tony Allen made a decision that he will probably remember for the rest of his life. Now, when showboating goes right, it can transform your reputation overnight. Like those signature slam dunks from Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, that's what we call showboating. But unfortunately, Allen's decision to showboat went horribly wrong, and it landed him in one of the strangest and probably most embarrassing injuries in NBA history. The referee has called off the game, but in a wild showboating event, Allen tries to dunk the ball but has too much momentum and goes flying past the rim, landing awkwardly on his knee. And keep in mind that the ref has already paused the game. There's literally no pressure because no one's guarding him, but everyone, including the fans, are watching him. So when he lands, his leg just folds. That's because his knee is in such an awkward position that he doesn't even stay up for a single second. He just folds as soon as his foot touches the ground. We're sure there's an angle of the video where you can actually see a fan or two laughing hysterically as he falls. It was strange, but if you think about it, it was a really dumb way to get injured. Anyway, we're glad it wasn't too serious. He suffered from a torn ACL and was back on the court in a few months. That's it from our side. What injury did you find the strangest? Did we miss something strange? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, folks.